9. A farmer put his land on the market wanting to net a certain amount. The real estate agent who found a buyer gave the farmer a check for $90,000 after deducting a 10% commission. What was the selling price of the farm? Well, there's a key word here, and that's the word net. And if you remember what I told you earlier when we talked about net listings, and that's what this is, a net listing, I said, is always a division problem. And so we should be able to work this out. So we'll start with a new circle here. Now, in the case of a net problem, the commission is always going to be down here. What you sold the property for is going to be here, and the net is going to be the top number. And keep in mind that makes sense, doesn't it? Because the net is going to be smaller than what you sold it for. So this goes back to our old rule of the small number on top, larger number on the bottom. So in this case, we know that the net is $90,000. That's what the farmer wanted to net. And we know the commission was 10%. Now, you've got to think back to another rule of the circle, and that's this. Is remember, this number is this percent of this number. This number divided by this number is going to give us this percent, but the top number divided by the rate, the top number always represents this percentage of our whole number here, or in this case, our sold price. Now, you think about this. Does 90,000 going to represent 10% of the sales price? No. But if we took that 100%, put it back in here, subtract 10%, does 90,000 represent 90% of the sales price? And the answer, of course, is yes. So we take 90,000 divided by 90. Again, use your percent key as a function key if it works that way. And we would get, you probably did this in your head, $100,000. So the farmer says, I've got to have $90,000 out of this property, and I'll give you anything you make over and above that. The salesman sold it for $100,000, so he made a 10% commission, or he wanted to make a 10% commission, so he sold it for $100,000. Same thing. Okay. And on those net problems, just remember, I'll give you one other hint on that. You simply take whatever net that they want to get in the problem, divide it by 100% minus the commission required, and you've got it. So in this case, 100 minus 10% is 90%. If we had a 6% commission, we take 100% minus 6%, it'd be 94%. You get the idea. Now, we want to look at some area formulas and do an area problem for you before we finish this portion. Remember, the area of a square is the length times the width. The area of a rectangle, the length times the width. And the area of a right triangle is the height, or the altitude, times the base divided by 2. So we've got a square footage problem here. It says this. Fred owned 4 acres of land with a front footage of 500 feet along the street. What is the depth of the land? So he's got 4 acres with front footage of 500 feet. Now, I think the easiest way to do this type of problem, and maybe you can see it in your head, but I think an easier way to do it is to draw it out. So we take and we draw this problem out. And Fred has got 500 feet front footage along the street here. And the question is what's this distance right here? What's the depth of the lot? Well, we know that the length times the width is going to equal the area. And so it's got to give us the area, doesn't it? In this case, it gives us what? 4 acres. So can we divide 4 acres by 500 feet? In other words, if we take 500 feet and divide it into the 4 acres, it doesn't work, does it? Because here we've got feet, here we've got acres. So what do we have to do with this? We have to convert this 4 acres into feet. And you remember, 43,560 square feet And that notation like that is just a square, and then you draw the foot line through it. That's your square feet. So we take 43,560 square feet and take it times 4 acres to get the total number of square feet in our piece of land here. And so we should come up with 174,240, what's that going to be, square feet in our piece of land. So we know that if we took the length times the width, we would get the area of the property. So if we take our area and divide it by the 500-foot frontage, we should get the depth of our piece of land. So we divide that by 500, and we find out that our land here is 348.48 feet, and that's from here down to here. And if you check that, if you wanted to check that, if you took 348 times 0.48 times 500, you get 174,240. Divide that by 43,560, and you should come back to 4 acres. Okay? And notice there, we had to memorize that 43,560 in order to do that problem. If you didn't have that number down, there's just no way that problem could be done correctly. Now, practice problem number 11 is the final problem here in our math portion. And so let's take a look at this. It says Lydia and Cliff bought a lot with the intention of building a house on it. They needed to determine how much it would cost them to build the home. They were told by contractors the cost to build was $40 per square foot for a garage and $80 per square foot for the home. And then I believe this goes on and says they had plans drawn for the house. They used the total square footage of the house and the garage to figure the cost to build. Okay, so we've got $40 per square foot for the garage and $80 for the home. So let's take a look at that and see what we can do with it. I want to make a notation up here for us. $40 for the garage, and what, $80, right, for the house. Okay, and there should be a drawing in your text there, and we can also reference the one I've got on the screen here. So when they looked at the floor plan looked like this. They've got a section of the home here that we're going to call A. You've got section B here and section C, and then you've got the garage out here. And you notice I've already put some lines in here to cut this into rectangular pieces. And anytime that you're working with a problem like this, you want to go in and you want to cut it up into pieces that you can work with. We don't have the facilities, to get the area of an L-shaped rectangle, if you would. But if we cut that into a rectangle, and a rectangle, then the math becomes real simple on that. So look at parcel number A here is going to be 30 feet times 35 feet. Yeah, because we've got 30 feet from here to here, and then from here to here we've got 30 feet also. So we've got 30 feet by 35 feet. So we could say parcel A there is 30 feet times 35 feet, or I believe that should be 1,050 square feet, right? Then look at parcel B. Well, parcel B is 30 feet tall also, but how wide is parcel B? Well, it's 35 feet, and then it's another 35 feet here. So we've got 35 and 35 is 70 feet, and we've got 30 feet here. So parcel B is going to be 30 feet times 70 feet, or that should be 2,100 square feet. Okay? Now let's look at the C here where the garage is. We've got 35 feet. If we draw a line down here, we've got 35 feet from here to here, or from here to here is 35 feet. And then north to south, if you would, or the width of it here, is going to be 30 feet. So this line here is 30 feet by 35 feet for parcel C, and that's still part of the house. So that's another 1,050 square feet in the home. And then our garage here, well, what's our garage going to be? We've got 55 feet across the bottom of parcel C, including the garage. But how big was this? You remember this was 35 feet. We projected it down from up here. So 35 feet subtracted from 55 feet is going to give us 20 feet of depth in this garage. So this garage is 20 feet deep and 30 feet wide. So our garage, I'll put the garage up here, is 20 feet by 30 feet, or that's going to be 600 square feet. So it's just a series of rectangles here that we have to determine the square footage on. So the total square footage of the house is going to be, what's that, 4,200 square feet. Check my math on that. If it's wrong, let me know. But I think that's correct, 4,200 square feet, and we've got 600 square feet in the garage. So what's the cost of our garage? Our garage is going to be 600 square feet times $40, and that should be what, $24,000, I believe. I get all my zeros right there. Okay. Then our house is going to be 4,200 square feet times $80. And no, I'm not that good. I'll use the calculator on that one. And that would give us $336,000. And we add our garage to that. And we come up with a total cost of our home here of $360,000. Now, what was the secret to doing this problem? The secret really is this, is just break it into bits and pieces that you can handle. And any time that you're working with a diagram like this, or if they give you a diagram like this, you're going to cut that into rectangles or squares, or maybe you'd have to cut it into a triangle, whichever dimension or whichever type of figure that you can get the dimensions on. And then just go ahead up and add up the bits and pieces there, and you'll be good shape, and you'll come up with an answer for that. Well, that concludes the math session of the national portion of your